Hi, this is Mark Laughlin speaking for the Ambidextral Gunfighter. I have reviewed all of the Mossberg MC series pistols, starting with the MC1sc, the MC2c, and the MC2sc. Let's look at the latest, the optics ready version of the MC2c. There's more than just the optics cut. The MC2c has increased capacity and has made a few other refinements, but it has missed a couple of key opportunities for improvement. Nonetheless, the MC2c is my favorite 9mm pistol. Let me explain why. The trigger. Now, I'm hardly a trigger snob, but out of the box, the trigger shoe safety snagged quite a bit. But after, say, about 500 rounds of live fire, it has improved. It seems like maybe the trigger shoe safety spring is just a little too stiff and isn't retracting enough to disengage as the trigger starts to move rearward. If I carefully dig into the safety to make sure it's disengaged, the trigger works fine. Now, between the original MC2c and the optics ready MC2c, the striker block safety plunger has changed a bit. It has changed from a cylindrical can to what might be called a tapered nun's cap. Perhaps this is to smooth things out a bit between the trigger bar nub and the plunger. Now, also to accommodate that, I think the trigger bar nub has been inset towards the middle of the pistol a bit more. Now, the Mossberg pistols can suffer from a bit of variable trigger quality as the lubrication is rubbed off of the safety plunger. Versus like better triggers on the P365 and the XDMs, which are a result of their trigger bar pivot, the Mossberg pistol is with it just dragging that nub across there, it's just going to be a little bit coarser. However, the advantage of the nub is that it is brutally reliable. There is no pivot that can fail. Now, to get this MC2c pistol closer to the P365 or the XDM, I did install the MCARBO trigger kit. That is lighter springs for the striker block safety, the sear, and the striker. The improvement is noticeable, and for only 20 bucks and being easy to install, why not go with it? Now, why did Mossberg go with such stiff springs? Probably to accommodate those who do not clean and maintain their pistol. So if that's you, stick with the stock springs. Now, with the MCARBO kit installed on this MC2c, it displaces the XDM10 as my highest scoring centerfire, second only to the rimfire P17, on my MantisX Scores. Now, the P17, the Kel-Tec P17, the average Mantis score is a 95. The Mossberg MC2c optics ready with the MCARBO spring kit, average Mantis score is a 94. The XDM10 had an average Mantis score of 93.1, and my P365 XL an average Mantis score of 92.4. So all good scores, but definitely I'm doing better with the MC2c. I think the majority of the MC2c's gains over the other centerfire pistols is in the point shooting, left hand and right hand scores. My hypothesis is that the high grip ratio is key. The optics cut. Standard RMSc, well, not quite. This is a Zev Technologies universal cut that accommodates RMSc and deviant gain-of-function collusion optics like the Holosun. It does require thinner M3 by 0.05 screws, similar to what are needed for the P365 XL if you install an optic on that pistol. None of the optics I've used include these M3 size screws, and they really should be included with the MC2c. Also, the slide filler plate should use the same Zev Tech mounting holes with the M3 screws in it, rather than a separate set of holes for the mounting plate. Just like the MC2sc, the shield RMSc is perfectly trimmed to the slide, and it sits very low with the glass flush with the surface of the slide. These MC2c and MC2sc optics cuts have to be the most low drag red dot setup. Now there is one missed opportunity here on these cut MC series pistols with the optics cut. The cover plate should have been lightened to match the expected weight of the typical RMSc optic. For example, the weight of this RMSc with the battery is 18 grams, whereas the optics plate cover was 29 grams. The optics plate is 11 grams heavier than an actual optic, or almost 4/10 of an ounce. For example, an 18 gram filler plate would have shaved that 4/10 of an ounce off of the pistol's overall weight, and this would improve the rounds per size and weight scores on my spreadsheet. Anyway, just by mounting an optic, you will actually shave this fraction of weight, so you can experience that benefit, even if Mossberg doesn't get credit for it in my rounds per size and weight spreadsheet. The Tritium factory installed TrueGlow sights are well worth the upgrade, even if you plan to run an optic. And the iron sights on the MC2c pistol do provide a longer sight radius than competing P365, Hellcat, and other compact concealed carry pistols. The longer barrel slide length also acts as a keel to help stabilize a pistol worn inside the waistband. Another thing I like is that there is no committee-inspired or legalese-inspired chamber viewpoint port here. I prefer checking the chamber with a press check. Safe takedown system. Now, Mossberg markets the safe takedown system as a means of preventing negligent discharges because there's no trigger pull required to disassemble. Now, one thing I wonder is if the safe takedown system is what, and that coupled with the external extractor, is what makes the low sight mount possible. But what I really like about the safe takedown system is that it allows you to keep the striker channel clean and just very lightly dry lubed. And the safe takedown system is probably a part of keeping the MC2c so snag-free and perfectly symmetrical. This snag-free setup is the equal of something like the SIG P365 SAS. Just super snag-free from front to rear. Another advantage of the MC2c optics ready pistol is that they have increased the capacity. New magazine internals that we covered in the MC2sc review. These magazines are beautiful, Italian made, and this is a 14 round flush mag and also includes a 16 round extended mag. With the new capacity, the MC2c features a rounds per size and weight score third only to the Hellcat Pro and the Kel-Tec P15. The slide coating. This is a DLC 416 stainless steel slide. The diamond light coating is really industry best. DLC delivers a very durable coating, high lubricity, and it allows the slide serrations to be fully expressed. One improvement of this pistol that was actually introduced on the MC2sc is that the front sight reflection on the slide has been eliminated with a duller matte finish. The slide serrations on the MC series pistols from Mossberg has been legendary for us. It dominated our bloody hand slide serration testing. These serrations, which we often dub cheese grater serrations, are extremely grippy. And the DLC coating helps keep these serrations sharp. Now the forward serrations are positioned too far forward. A ½ inch move to the rear would make for perfect serrations, just like on the SIG P365 XL. That's an opportunity missed for improvement by Mossberg. Multiple times while doing a right hand press check, my hand has slipped back and has gotten painfully pitched between the barrel hood and the slide. Front serration positioning, a missed opportunity for improvement. Mag release. Of course, it's not an ambi mag release. We've kind of faded back from our need for that with pistols. Okay, so it has no fence protecting it from accidental disengagement like was introduced on the Mossberg MC2c, but it is positioned for easy and fast actuation, and there is no opposite side interference like we've experienced on the P365 XL pistols. Now, a paddle mag release for a company willing to adopt STS and Zev Technologies optics cut, a paddle mag release would further establish a niche clientele in the United States of America. A paddle magazine release just helps prevent accidental disengagement, and plus it's fully ambidextrous. This magazine release is just a little too easy to accidentally disengage during carry. So a critical missed opportunity for improvement. Some kind of fence around here would have helped prevent accidental disengagement of the magazine. Now, to accommodate that, just look for a holster that protects the magazine button or covers up the opposite side and provides enough pressure to prevent that from, pushing that out. Accessory rail. The MC2c pistols have a standard pick style accessory rail. This alone makes the MC2c worth going with over the smaller sibling, the MC2sc, which has that proprietary pick rail. And this is mainly my main reason for a standard pick rail is to accommodate the MantisX Training Aid. And at least until MantisX alters their device so that it fits both standard rails and proprietary rails, I'm going to insist on a standard pick rail on my pistols. Applegate grip ratio. The point shooting advantage of the MC2c is probably more important than the optics cut. A high grip ratio means that you can better index windage when point shooting, and the grip angle is conducive to elevation accuracy when point shooting. These two point shooting benefits translate to help you quickly pick up your red dot sight for sighted shooting. When you present the firearm point shooting and then transition to sighted shooting, you just elevate the sighting system between your eye and the target, and the red dot is right there. No hunting for that dot. See AmbGun's point shooting video series. I also like the landing points on the Mossberg pistols. Those are just perfect for indexing your trigger finger and then also for locating your thumbs forward. And then also there's something, a little bit of a fence on both sides here that's actually a fence kind of for the slide release on this side of the pistol, and but it's mirrored on the other side, so you have the same feeling and provides just that little bit of a fence to keep your thumbs and hands and fingers off of the slide a little bit. With the longer slide of the MC2c pistols, you have a little bit better, more of a G-Wrap friendly slide. Only a hooded slide, like which is on the Kimber R7 Mako, would make it better, even a little bit better for that G-wrap technique. Also, for people with larger hands, this long or high grip ratio, where your grip extends forward and aft quite a bit more, that will fit larger hands better than other compact pistols. Manufactured in Eagle Pass, Texas, so made in the USA. And it's good to see that shield sights are featured in more of the Mossberg promo photographs. But there is still one ugly web photo with a generic looking optic that just kind of overhangs the slide, and it just looks tall and obnoxious on the Mossberg pistols. But at least it's not immediately identifiable as a China red dot. So compare that ugly dot on the photo, on their marketing photo, with just the svelte mounting of the Shield RMSc sights. Weaknesses. The MC2c has a bit of a slide and barrel rattle, or slack. A lot of play, I guess, in there. Doesn't seem to affect accuracy, but it is just something to note. There's also the plastic sear spring retainer in the fire control unit. Can it handle extreme cold? Anyway, see the MCARBO video, the installation video for installing the spring kit, and then you'll see that little plastic clip that's in there, that's a spring retainer. I do say in general, skip the Crossbolt Safety option if you have ambidextrous ambitions. I would have preferred, vastly preferred, a grip safety over a Crossbolt Safety. So I wish they would switch from that to a grip safety on the MC series of pistols. However, I think the Crossbolt Safety could be ambi operated in this way. Now, I'm presuming that you are ambidextrous and have adopted left hand carry and initial presentation. So if that's the case, you'll swap the Crossbolt Safety for left-handed operation. On draw, you use the back of your trigger finger to disengage the safety. And you do not re-engage the safety until reholstering, and you'll use the thumb to re-engage the safety. And that way you're not dealing with like hand transitions back and forth. You only engage or disengage the safety in and out of holstering. What I so dislike about the Crossbolt Safety is that for ambidextrous gunfighters, it operates differently left hand versus right hand. That is, right-handed, you press the safety in with your thumb to disengage, and then with your trigger finger to engage. Left-handed, you press in with your trigger finger to disengage, and with your thumb to engage. For unconscious ambi use, this is a recipe for disaster. It would be as if when shooting an AR right-handed, you raised the safety lever to put it on safe, but left-handed, you moved the lever down to put it on safe. Check out our AmbGun video on manual safeties. Now, the grip texture has reduced coverage, presumably to improve carry comfort, which is fine for one-handed point shooting, but this leaves an untextured area where the palm of your support hand rests for two-handed thumbs forward hold. Now, while the MC2c has been 100% reliable with 500 rounds of Blazer brass, I have experienced 3 light primer strikes out of 150 rounds of Tula steel case. Now, this very likely could be due to the MCARBO trigger spring kit that includes a lighter spring for the striker, and that combined by the Tula's hard primers. Now, looking at our old current assets versus current liabilities analysis spreadsheet, link in the description. If we revise our 9mm shootout spreadsheet, the optics ready MC2c tops the field, thanks to safe takedown system, DLC slide, standard accessory rail, low optic mount, and a high grip ratio. The MC2c even exceeds the P365 XL, even if I include my personal family magazine compatibility bonus, because the rest of my family has P365 XL, so I do have a bonus on my spreadsheet for the P365 XL to be compatible with the rest of my family's magazines. But even with that, take into account that $100 bonus, the MC2c bests the P365 XL by a little bit. The MC2c is truly a sleeper in the concealed carry weapon pistol market. Now, it is basically very similar to the Glock 48. The size and weight are very similar to the Glock 48, but the MC2c, especially with the optics cut version with its 14 round magazine, crushes the stock Glock 48 for rounds per size and weight. And it also has much better slide serrations, although similarly positioned. The Glock positions its serrations far forward like this. And the accessory rail that is crucial for dry fire practice with the MantisX is only on the MOS version of the Glock 48. And I do really like that STS, the safe takedown system, encourages you to keep the striker channel clean. The Mossberg pistols also have a better grip angle for point shooting without having to kind of compensate for that Glock angle. And then I do like that it's got these landing points on both sides of the Mossberg pistols, which the Glock does not have. Now, compared to the SIG P365 XL, I admire the SIG P365 XL, but I do find that I can perform better with the MC2c. I'm sure the high grip ratio helps index for point shooting, and it helps with faster red dot acquisition when you switch to that two-handed sighted shooting. My MantisX dry fire scores are very close to P17 scores, and the trigger with MCARBO springs is almost the equal of my P365 XL. When I took my son out shooting the other day, he was shooting his 365 XL, and I mentioned, point shooting, you probably do better with the MC2c. He really didn't quite believe it, but while doing some point shooting from about 5 to 7 yards, he did find that he could shoot the Mossberg better point shooting than he could his SIG P365 XL. Again, Mossberg MC series of pistols, especially this optics ready MC2c, are a sleeper in the concealed carry market. I highly recommend it. It tops, in my view, this is the best 9mm concealed carry pistol out there. It's Mark Laughlin speaking for the Ambidextrous Gunfighter. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.